on, waiters.
GGI, that shit go phone. Right up there to my bitch to the phone.
Good evening, cupcakes. How is everyone doing tonight? You know, we weren't planning on doing an episode, but sometimes life calls upon you, and we really, really love what we do at Cupcake Media. So before we dive into tonight's special late night episode, please click subscribe on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, and if you want to listen to us in the car, you can follow us on a host of various podcasting sites, such as Spotify, Apple, and whatever other sites that Anchor distributes us on. We should be on it, and therefore you can find us. You know, when I was a teenager, which wasn't too long ago, I loved summer nights. And the reason why I love summer nights is because I remember, when we were in the school year, we only thought the only show we could see was like Jay Leno. And then there's like this whole just pile, like this slew of just other shows that we never know. And that's when I first discovered Conan O'Brien, and I'll never forget one of the shows that resonated with me. He had this thing with the masturbating bear. And I'm looking at this thing at 2 a.m. going, what the hell did I just see? And, after Conan, there was the late show, which is even more bizarre. And I'm like, how the hell are people even having shows this late? Anyways, the whole reason we went off on that kind of rant, not even a rant, that that stroll down mysterious memory lane was because, it's about 1:23 in the morning right now. And in memory of Conan, this episode really does go out to you. Unfortunately, I'm not funny like him. But that bonding, that connection, this is for all the night owls out there, all the Ronin, all the lone wolves, or that tribe of people who just love the night and they love life. So tonight's special late night episode it's personal for me, and it should be personal for all of you. It's about America, and more importantly, it's about what the fuck is social media, Instagram, TikTok, schools, TV. What the fuck are they teaching people? Because America is the only country I've been to with all of its prosperity and all of its greatness. Doesn't mean everything is great, but in general, there's a lot of greatness to it, okay? We're not South Africa. We're not Cuba where we can't even go buy Advil and we're just dying from basic things like water. We can't get water. What the fuck happened to just caring about your country? You see, cupcakes, there's a difference between the cupcake generation, where all they do is they bitch and complain about how shitty this country is. Well, guess what? There's free tickets out there for you to go live somewhere else. The irony is, you hate this place so much, but it's so fucking amazing that you don't want to leave it. And what I'm going to say is, for you guys who hate it, you need to shut the fuck up. Because you're the reason why this country is in the debacle it is. Because there are greater players out there. There are greater forces out there that want to abolish the United States. No, this isn't some conspiracy theory shit. No, this is happening in front of your fucking eyes. But no, none of you want to realize it. There's nothing wrong with criticizing your country. I've lived in California pretty much my whole life, other than some time that I spent abroad. And I've been very lucky to travel, and I really immerse myself in the culture. I do my best to integrate with people, stay in touch with them, see what's going on. And yeah, has America lost some of its swagger? Fuck yeah, have we, dude? We're like Al Bundy right now, glorifying about our high school football days from Married with Children. And we have the ability to turn around, But if we don't, we're going to get so just, we're going to get our asses kicked so hard with a baseball bat that we never saw coming and hitting us in the face. But I think the irony to this is that we kind of see that baseball bat, like we're seeing it being made. We see like about to get lunged at us, and we're just sitting there going, I wonder if that bat's going to hit me in the head. And yeah, I mean, yeah, we've lost some of our swagger. Like from whether you're in California, Nevada, Arizona, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, like there are things that we are fundamentally behind on in this country that we don't know how to do. We don't know how to make a modern day city. We like to sprawl the fuck out to the middle of the boony boondocks and just have people drive endlessly in shit traffic when if you look at our biggest competitor right now, which is China, they've spanked our ass in developing cities. Okay? And don't tell me, oh, it's because America's too big. No, you dumb fucktards, dude. China's just as big as us and fucking bigger. They have like close to 2 billion people. A town in China has 2 million people, okay? So, yeah, so their population is close to 2 freaking billion people. It's up there. But, you know, you look at Japan, right? Like Tokyo has 44, 46 million people. There's no traffic on the freeways. Like, ever. I think the only time I saw traffic was during rush hour in the morning for like maybe 2 hours and 2 hours in the afternoon. That's it. But yeah, are there things we suck at? We don't know how to make cities. We don't know how to build vertically. We lost that art. Like we built New York City and we're like, wow, we're the like fucking, you know, megapolis of the world. A megatropolis of the world. I think I said megapolis. I apologize. This megatropolis of the world. And then we stopped. Why isn't every downtown in the United States looking like that? We don't know how to build high-speed rail. California still has their like fucking sippy cup and their thumbs up their ass. 21 years later, where's my high-speed rail? Where? Between like Merced and Bakersfield? Like, who the fuck lives in Merced? I don't know. Cows? Donkeys? Probably. But, so yeah, are there things we suck at? Yeah, it's okay to criticize. But the lack of like taking pride in your country has had a cancerous effect. And to me, it's astonishing because even during China's 100 years of shame that they talk about, which was the last century, I never heard Chinese people talking about how shitty China was. And dude, they went through like some of the worst famine under Mao Zedong. I mean, like so many people died and they still thought it was an amazing country. It's one thing to criticize, but it's another thing to constantly shit about the place you live in. And the problem with that type of thinking, that cupcake mindedness, is that, like, if you live in Austin, Texas, right? You have a lot of cupcakes right now. For you real Texans, do you know what I'm talking about? You have a lot of fucking cupcakes in Austin. There's like homeless everywhere. And isn't it kind of ironic that the cities and the states with the worst homeless crisis are the ones that are run by Democrats? Now, little disclaimer. At Cupcake Media, we're like Switzerland. We do our best to stay neutral, but we have no problem pointing out the facts and the realities when they're right there in front of your 2 eyeballs and when most people can see it. So Austin has this problem. California has this problem. And, you know, we were out to lunch earlier today with some friends, and this question came up of like, do you want to stay in America? And I said, I don't know. I said, I love this place. Like, I don't know where I'd want to go, but I want to wait the next 10 years. And, you know, the thing that came up, I said, is look, like, you take the high crime going on in California, it's astronomical, and it's third world level crime and murder rates going on, okay? The amount of gun violence just across the United States, it's comparable to what you expect out of a uncivilized country. It's what you expect out of a country without government. It's what you expect out of a country like in tribal warfare. It's what you expect in a developing and a third world country, not in a first world developed nation. So I said that's very, you know, it's very alarming. I think it's also very alarming that we become this tribe of fools where people can no longer talk to one another. And it's like, if you don't believe in what I believe in, fuck you. I'm going to try to ruin your life and vice versa. And that's not how democracy works. It's very communistic. but I also said it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next, it's going to be 9 years now. And a part of that is because of China, because China has had a plan for the last 20 years. They have openly said this in their 5-year plans and their yearly Communist Party celebrations. They just recently marked the 100-year anniversary of the Communist Party, talking about how they want to replace the United States as a superpower. And a couple of them just kind of looked at me and said, oh, it's not a big deal. You just go learn Mandarin. I'm like, well, I don't mind learning Mandarin. I speak 4 fucking languages. But to me, it was that lack of apathy, that lack of care, that lack of you see what they don't like, that lack of realizing, oh shit, there is this big giant dragon in the east, and folks, they're getting us on both sides of our coastlines. They are strategically moving themselves into the Atlantic on the west coast of Africa. And you don't do that unless if you're thinking of attacking the east coast of the United States and being able to resupply your troops, right? On the west coast of Africa, moving towards our eastern seaboard to play some, to kind of show who's got the bigger balls. And then we got the whole Pacific Ocean we got to worry about as well. And the amount of aggression that their government has had. I have no ill will towards China. I'm just talking about living in America. These are things we got to worry about. And what they didn't realize with this was that if the United States loses its economic standing and political influence in the world, what happens to democracy? What happens in a world where the European Union has to succumb to Chinese ideology and communism and the lack of free speech, right? This is what Europeans, my friends, they constantly discuss with us at this channel. They go, what happens if America never rebounds and really solidifies itself at the fucking top? What happens when China it says, you know what? You don't need free speech. You get to, it is gone. You don't need to have democracy. You need to have groupthink like we do. You don't like a certain people, like the Uyghur Muslims, just put them in a concentration camp. Oh, AKA rehab camp. Make 3 million people disappear in the middle of the night. These are things they truly worry about. And when that happens, right, you got to think about the consequences it'll have for you back home here. If we lose our economic might, that loses our ability to really generate wealth. And when you look at the wealthier countries in this world, they extend their influence far beyond their borders. That's how China, in the last 20 years, uplifted 330 million people out of poverty into middle class. They emulated the American franchise, the American model of success. It's why Japan, such an island, such a small, tiny island nation, for the longest time was the second highest GDP country in the world. It is now third, and it's still doing great. I mean, the only reason why China surpassed, just at some point, China's got just such big numbers. It should be up there, right? But it's why Japan kicks ass. They can just extend their economic might across the world, this tiny little island nation, right? It's why they do so much better than Korea, for example. It's why they're even more wealthier than Australia, for example, which is this massive island continent nation. But these are things they don't think about. And to me, it's baffling because I come from a country that was the richest fucking country in the whole world. And overnight, and yes, there's a lot of, external power influence at play. But what do you think's happening in America? This is the thing I think people are oblivious about. There's a lot of external power influence happening in the United States from countries like China specifically to dismantle our democracy, to turn us against one another. They took our playbook and now it's being boom, like thrown back into our face. And I think it's worrying that you don't care about your country. Because when you don't care about your country, you don't give a fuck that there's homeless people living on the street. You don't give a fuck that you have this massive opioid crisis that's been going on for like more than 20 years and it has just destroyed the United States, right? People just throw their shit everywhere in LA. Like I came off of the 405 freeway the other day. It looked like something you would see in Somalia. Just shit and boxes lying everywhere off the exit. And this is like one of the better neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Like you're coming off of Sunset, right? UCLA's down the street. You got Bel Air, Beverlywood, Beverly Hills, Brentwood. I mean, you name it. Like it's some of the top grossing zip code incomes in the world, and it looked like a fucking third world exit. But this is why this happens, because we don't have any pride anymore. Like America was a place when people thought about it, when people emigrated here like more than 2 decades ago, it was a place where they go, wow, like these people care about their country. They care to kick ass. They care to be the best. But we've raised all these cupcakes who don't care. Like the homeless thing in California, there was a petition about a year and a half ago to basically remove the homeless from all the streets. Because who the fuck wants someone shitting in front of your lawn or like in front of your apartment building and trying to like rape your girlfriend, right? Real story. Happened to somebody I know, okay? And all the shitting and stuff, you just see it whenever you go to downtown LA and things like that. And one of our friends, and she's sweet, like love her to death, she wouldn't sign it. She's like, oh no, but like, what are you going to do to all the homeless? I'm like, look, I deal with homeless all the time. Like, stop believing that it's because they don't have affordable housing. Like, if you work with homeless people, most of them like being fucking homeless. It's really sad. Okay? Like, in my experience, if I had to put a number on it, I'll give you a range. Between 84 to 92% of the people don't have a mental health crisis. What they have is a fucking drug problem, which can lead to some mental instability because when you take drugs, you get fucked up, right? But it's not because they can't afford homes. No, dude, it's because they made a lot of bad fucking decisions. And maybe 8% of them, maybe like 8% of them genuinely from the age of 18 were probably schizophrenic and they have multiple personality disorder and whatnot. But why isn't this problem a phenomenon anywhere else in the world? Because it's a self-induced problem, right? But she wouldn't sign it. And she lives in downtown LA. And I'm like, so you like the fact that every time you walk out of your building, someone is pissing or shitting in front of your building, which also contaminates your groundwater, which is why downtown Los Angeles has massive water pollution. And who was it from? I'm trying to remember who it was. The United Nations had visited Los Angeles in 2017 and issued a warning that the homeless problem should have sparked an international concern, and they would have sent UN peacekeeping troops had it not been the United States. Had it been any other country, they would have done it. But they also discussed how the groundwater was severely contaminated, and it's why you have so many cholera outbreaks that are happening in Los Angeles. Yeah, cholera, wonderful thing to have. So she wouldn't sign it. And that's the thing, right? Like, when did we stop caring about our country? If we cared about our country, we wouldn't have this homeless problem. If we cared about our country, we wouldn't have like shit roads in all of California where we pay some of the highest fucking taxes in the world, okay? In the world. And all the hippies and stuff, right, will tell you, oh, it's because the rich don't pay taxes. No, the rich pay their taxes. When you take just like, I think it's like what, the 0.1% of the United States, I could be wrong on the stat, it could be the 0.1 or the 1% of the United States, like that bracket, they fund, it's like sitting around like 70% of all federal and state programs. Pretty insane. I think they pay their share. I think the problem is we have people who don't care, who are in power, who just want to suck more money. Like, I've heard rumors that in Santa Monica, the mayor has an entire like side hustle for homelessness. So all these like, I don't know, like agencies that go and deal with the homeless go through members of his family. And I think some of the so-called houses that they had to make all got contracted to his family. How the fuck is that different from like a corrupt third world country? It's not, you know? But I just don't think people in America care. And that really worries me, because when you stop caring about the success of your country, when you stop caring about your country doing well, it's when you lose, right? It's like being on a basketball team and you don't care to fucking win. Guess what? You're going to be ranked at the bottom, at 20th spot, never making the playoffs, never winning a fucking championship. And I'm just sitting here going like, what are they teaching kids in school? What are they teaching them? They don't teach them shit. They can't even, they're teaching them what bathroom not to piss in, which is like the last thing we need to do, right? Like, if your pet dog knows if its leg goes up or if it squats, right? You want to believe in science? Well, remove your emotional science and let them scientifically stick to whatever they want to fucking do. But we're doing some crazy things for like 7 and 8 year olds. No, teach them math. Teach them to care about their country. You know? I just don't get it. And we at this channel just don't get it. When did we stop just being so like non-sympathetic? Like, when do we lack the empathy? When do we lack the pride to be like, we want to succeed. We want to be leaders in tech. We want to be leaders of how to make cities. We want to set the example. Whatever happened to that? Is TikTok to blame? Are all these fucking Looney Tunes people out there like making videos in the middle of freeways? Are they to blame because they've lost the ambition to like put in hard work day in and day out like a generation ago did? Because I'm telling you, everyone should be concerned. If you go to China, they don't have any of these problems. If you go to China, you know what they are set on? Their kids, they're young, their intellect, they're old. They are on a mission to kick our ass and dethrone us and not even keep us in the top 8. No. They want to fully eliminate us. The same way, for example, the Western world, got together and removed the Shah of Iran and then started a war by encouraging Iraq to attack Iran and destroyed that country. Iran went from being the richest country in the world to a country that suffered, and it never regained some of that glory. It's not even in the top 8 anymore. And it's sad, right? But that's their mission. And people in China, they care. You won't, dude, in a country with like close to 2 billion people, they don't have anywhere near a homeless problem. They don't have the shit roads that we do. They have so much high-speed rail that they've made more high-speed rail than all the countries in the world that have made it combined. And they did it in a shorter time frame. They're leaders in 5G. They're leaders in like laser light transmissions. They're making breakthroughs in medicine. I've come across some articles that have shown that basically cancer in China has basically been eliminated because they have found medicines and cures with things like Cypher 15 that for the most part have a high degree of success. And what's interesting is, I think it's GlaxoSmithKline, the pharmaceutical company. They have treatments for that in China, and they cost like 15, 30 grand. But in America, like no one knows about it because they don't advertise it. But if you want to get those treatments for, let's say, some disease like cancer, it costs you $500,000. So how the fuck in China is it so cheap, and why is it so expensive here, right? But this is my whole point. They're curing things that we can't cure. They're doing things that we can't do. I literally saw someone sent me a video where I want to say it was in Beijing. It was this massive bridge. They literally rebuilt this overhead bridge in 43 hours. Like, so if you live in LA, I'm going to give you an example. When you go to downtown and you just magically are always praying to God because it's where the 110, 10, 5, 60, and 101 freeways all meet, and you're like, oh my God. You're like, God help me. This is the entrance to purgatory. So they took something like that, probably bigger, tore it all down, made it bigger in 43 hours. We can't even fix a pothole, one pothole. We can't even fix that in 43 hours. So that's my point. You know, when did we stop caring? When did we stop believing in ourselves? When did we stop having pride? You know, somebody said, you know, the problem is for people like they've associated people who care with their country as being racist. Like that is like the most asinine thing I've ever heard. So you want people shitting in front of your lawn every day? So you don't be like called something fucking stupid? You know, these cupcakes that someone's got to put some Wagyu down their throats and shove it really hard so they stop saying stupid things. Like, but I go, wow, like that kind of makes sense. I understand that, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't care. Caring about your country, like, you should not be labeled something so idiotic and asinine as being called racist for caring about your country. You know? No, care about it, dude. Care about it. Take it from the guy whose country was richer than America and all the countries of the world combined. And overnight, nothing. So so everyone's trying to make a fucking TikTok video. Imagine nothing. You can't sell your ass on shit when that happens. Literally. Nobody's going to be looking at it. I just wonder what it's going to take. And I think it's time that we come back to civility. I think it's time that this tribe of fools that we are, this tribe of just wandering idiots and ignorant fools, gets a reality check. Reality check is the cupcakes have to be disciplined. The reality check is that the weak-minded have to understand that there are people smarter than them. The reality check is that you're fucking wrong, like many times in life. The reality check is we should be able to have civilized conversations and not say, if you don't believe in what I believe in, that you can go fuck yourself. That's not how democracy works. The reality check is we have a lot of bigger problems that we need to solve first before we get to the smaller stuff. And some of those bigger problems are we need to make our cities better. We need to make them more efficient with high-rise developments. We need to develop high-speed and light-speed rail because all these things help the environment. They help our quality of life. They help our happiness factor. They bring communities closer together. They make seeing your family and friends easier. They make just life easier. They solve affordable housing, right? We need to be able to do these things. We need to make our infrastructure better. We need to teach our kids better education because the decline of intellect that I've seen in the last 5 years is astonishing. Like you have kids graduating high school and college who don't know how to write even a fucking resume. There's a reason why Cornel West quit Harvard. And it has more to do with the fact that he didn't get his tenure. No, there's more to it. There's a decline in education. We have to understand that while we're being cupcakes, China's being all about Kobe steak. They're out here to kick our ass. And if that doesn't bother you, then you shouldn't be in this country. If you're not worried about the implications that will have, it just shows how narrow focused your mind is and how fucking selfish you are. And how you don't care about the person next to you. How you don't care about the well-being of potentially having children in this country. You don't care about your own well-being and your family. Just think about that. Let that soak in to your cupcake mind. I don't know about you, but when I played sports, I played to fucking win. And I have no sympathy for people who don't see it any other way. You can call me an asshole, whatever, but on the court, dude, I was there to win. And if you couldn't play at that level, I tell you to go fuck off. And life it's about having a great time in life. It is. And enjoying what you do. It's why I'm up close to 2 a.m. for this, because I fucking love this shit. But my passion extends to the success of the people around me. My passion extends to the success of my country, my city, my state, my nation. My passion extends to the fact of seeing this place stay at the top so that we don't get dethroned and then have to deal with massive economic consequences. People are killing each other in one of technically some of the best home buying 18 months we've ever had in the history of the United States and the world, okay? So we're technically in an economic boom because people are buying so many homes and crime's this high. What the fuck do you think will happen when we're not at the top anymore? Yeah, we'll be eating each other like zombies. That's what I think will happen. So yeah, do I care about winning? Absolutely. Do I want to see my friends go and get a Koenigsegg? Abso-fucking-lutely. I'm going to encourage them. I'm going to say, you know what? Good luck, man. I wish you the best of luck. Whatever happened to that? This meism mentality has to stop, because that is what has plagued the downfall of the United States. It's what has plagued our military, our government, our politics. It's what has plagued our ability to have just fun, decent conversations. It is what has plagued our ability to appreciate our uniqueness and our individuality versus making us a collective groupthink of fucking cows in the meat grinder facility. At Hello Cat Therapy, which is run by my wife, there's so many people who go I only say shit because it's what's cool in Los Angeles, because I don't want to, I get so anxious if I tell them how I really feel about something. That's fucking sad. That's not how democracy works. So yeah, so excuse me and all of us at Cupcake Media if we think that's bullshit, that this is what's happening. Because it's that lack of care, that lack of love, that self-pride to be the best version of yourself and the best version that all of us can be. So we have some time, not a whole lot. But I think anyone who doesn't take pride in their country and is throwing shit out their window, it's a garbage dump, through graffitiing the fucking, beaches, they're leaving trash on the beach. Why is it in Japan there's no trash on the beach and we have one holiday and there's more trash on the beach than there ever is on any other fucking day, and it's so much trash that one day there's more trash than every other day combined in the beaches in California? Are we that barbaric? Take some fucking pride. You can't say you care about the environment and just throw all your shit into the ocean, idiots. So yeah, so excuse me if the cupcakes are wrong, and that we should take some true pride, have some dignity in the way we carry ourselves. You know what the difference is between us and China? When you go out in China, everyone's dressed up very beautifully. Whether it's in Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Prada, you name it, they got it. They're not dressing in fucking Crocs and ugly sweatpants when they go out. No. We've lost, right? It first starts with you. We've lost that self-respect for ourselves to portray ourselves in a dignified manner. So excuse me if in this country you don't care about it. Because if you don't, honestly, what are you doing here? You can go anywhere else and not care. Go to Saskatchewan, Canada, right? Go there. Go live on an iceberg. But if you don't care about your success and the success of your nation, then don't be surprised when there's homeless people taking a dump in front of your kids, doing drugs, and having prostitution in front of your window. Don't be surprised when there's an opiate addict, when the fucking bridges are falling, when a condo building in Miami falls and kills so many people. Don't be surprised when your education sucks and your 18-year-old child is graduating with education equivalent of a fucking fourth grader in Germany and India and Iran. Don't be surprised when kids from China take all of our jobs. God bless them. They deserve it because they're trying to kick our ass. So you know what? On that note, let's start taking some pride. Let's respect one another. Let's grow up. The Peter Pan time's got to stop. Go do something. Be something. Make some fucking change. And let's make some positive change. We hope you enjoyed that episode. Have a wonderful night. And don't forget to click subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Tell your friends about us. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and a host of other podcasting sites. Until then, the council has spoken. Have a great night. And if you see a cupcake, throw it against the wall. Take care, everyone.
What the fuck going on, Willis? GCI, and I should go phone. Right at that in my bitch to the tone.